Okay, just responded to my sixth call as a firefighter, and this one was an EMS call for a person who had fallen and had an injury. Um, had a little bit of chaos getting down to the station, but got down there in my lower turnouts and accidentally set off the alarm on my way. Uh, got that ironed out real quick, and then when the chief arrived, he let me know that turnouts aren't a great thing for EMS calls because they lead to people feeling like you're showing up in dirty gear and traipsing through their house. So, turnout gears, specifically for fires and motor vehicle accidents, MVAs. So learned a little bit about how to show up and respond for EMS calls, and I'll have to adjust my plans a little bit for what I do to get ready, but it shouldn't be too difficult. I'll just got to leave some shoes by the door and jacket handy, make sure that I've got some clothes that are capable of that on at any given point. Not a big deal. I can do that. So that was education before we really hit the road. And then we took off, and North Star beat us there by probably 10, 15 seconds. And so once we pulled up on scene, one guy had already gone inside to talk to the patient, and another was pulling out the stretcher cart. So we followed them in while the daughter of the person let us know what they knew of the scenario, and we headed inside, and it was about 100 degrees in there. They had all of the heat everywhere jacked up to max, and they were complaining of being cold pretty consistently the whole time in there. Um, so that was kind of a challenge, but not terribly awful. Um, they complained a bit of having a pain in their hip and uh, seemed a little bit disoriented. So we put a sheet down and rolled them onto their side, got the sheet underneath them, and then lifted them up onto the stretcher. And then we got their jacket off so that they could get access to the arms for blood pressure and stuff like that, and took them out to the ambulance. Um, Once we got them in there, then they got them set up with an IV after doing like the blood pressure test, pulse oxygen, um, and a blood pressure, or not blood pressure, a blood sugar test. Um, at which point they revealed that they were diabetic, and the reading came back low, so they gave them an oral glucose supplement and the IV 10 drip. And during that time, they continued to complain about being cold, so they adjusted the temperature in the ambulance and um, asked a couple of basic questions like age and things like that. And it was pretty clear that this person was fairly disoriented, but semi-coherent. And around that time, we worked on getting the destination that we were going to take them identified. And a granddaughter showed up and banged on the ambulance uh, rather insistently. After a minute, while they were figuring out the location they were going to take them, we stepped out of the ambulance to address their concerns. She wanted to see her grandmother, and so we let them in to talk for a minute. And yeah, then it was time to head down the road, and so we let them know where we were going to go and follow the North Star ambulance, not ours, because we're not headed to the same place. And so then on the road we went, and she'll probably be just fine. They'll get her blood sugar probably back in range before they even get to the hospital. Um, and once that's all said and done, then they'll check her out, make sure she's in good shape. Um, And yeah, after that, um, we started heading back to the station, and the chief taught me a little bit about low blood sugar and some of the things that he's seen, what you can kind of expect, because I figured with a blood sugar that was at the level that they were at, that they might not have been conscious, but apparently it can get pretty low before you lose consciousness. It's just it affects cognition and stuff. So I learned a little bit from that. And right about the time that we were making the last set of turns to get back to the station, the rescue truck blew a hose. Big ol' pop. And then it wouldn't go faster than about 35 miles an hour down the road. So we called up the lead of the board of directors and let him know that the truck was out of service and we'd probably need to have it towed for repairs, um, and pulled into the station. And then the chief called the local mechanic and gave him a bit of an update as far as, hey, we just experienced something, and so we might need to head down there. And popped the hood and took a look underneath, and it became readily apparent that the turbo hose had popped off of the area and the clamp had started flopping free. So rather than being a big heavy duty thing, the mechanic said, well, if that's what you got, that's a known thing with these vehicles. So just put some silicone around the uh, boot of it and get the hose back on top, clamp it back down and let it cure. And then if it fails again, take it for a more in-depth diagnosis of the issue. So we'll probably have the rescue truck back in service by tomorrow, maybe the day after. Um, but for now, our rescue truck is out of commission. So I also got a little bit of education for what to do when the truck that you normally use goes down. And so we'd probably end up using the truck next to it for our response if we have another EMS, but not to take everything off of that vehicle and put it into the audible vehicle, because if we load everything up onto that one and then get a fire call, we have all sorts of medical gear that's in the way. Um, so bring it as needed when needed, and hope we don't need it between now and then. And yeah, solid education. Learned a little bit about cars, learned a little bit about diabetics, learned a little bit about how they respond to falls and stuff like that, and what to do when a truck is out of commission. Um, it doesn't cover everything since we only spent a couple of minutes on it, but you know, every little bit you see helps. And so I feel like I gained a lot out of this run, even if I wasn't necessarily doing a ton or uh, anything like that. And yeah, one more under the belt. Um, Picked up some lessons for what to do better next time. And yeah, it's good. If you guys like seeing these videos, let me know. I'm kind of doing it as a personal diary to take care of my own mental health after going through calls, especially if I see something traumatic, to let other people in the service know that, hey, this is something that is common to all of us, although if they've been around for a while, they probably already know. And if you aren't part of the fire service but are thinking about it, that, hey, it is definitely a learn by doing kind of environment a lot of the time. So get involved, get plugged in, because there's no better time than now. Um, Fire service is always in need of extra bodies. And so even if you don't feel like you might be what they're looking for, if you've got the heart to go help, step up, see what is happening at your local fire station. They may put you to good use and help upskill you. So, yeah, I hope you guys like it. And if you want to reach out to me, you can leave comments or join my Telegram community where I make posts about what I'm doing and hopefully can develop some crypto native type things to help encourage the growth of the service and pay for things like turnout gear, going professional, helping others in the fire service do the same. Um, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm getting started and seeing where it heads. And as always, if you know something about what's going on, like uh, what is good to share and what I should be avoiding, and you have some feedback for that, I always welcome the critiques. Um, I'm always trying to do my best here, never want to make any mistakes, but I'm human and I'm new, so I'm bound to do some rookie stuff, and I rely on those around me to get sharper. So if you see something, say something. And as always, have a great day. I'll catch you in the next video.